What's up, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It is. Oh, come on. This phone. It is April 24th, right? I just looked. Yep. You ever do that? You open up your phone to look at the date or something specific like that, and then you put your phone back in your pocket and you're like, what day is it? Happens to me every now and then. Um, it's April 24th in the morning. Once again, the landlord yesterday said we're coming over today. We're coming over tomorrow, which will be today, to fix the water. We'll see. It's only been 3 months, so I don't know. And I have a lot of work to do today, but there's a cloud hanging over. I have to go on a 54-mile bicycle ride today, so that's and even worse than that, I have to go on a 54-mile bicycle ride that's going to go into the night. I gotta be somewhere at 7 o'clock. I'm actually like, this sucks. I don't know the best way to handle this one. It's kind of like one of these things you feel like you have to do, but I don't have the energy for it today. Especially to leave around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon and probably not get home until 10 o'clock. I don't know, dude. Having to ride on the most dangerous roads in Houston to do it. Like, I'm honestly thinking it's gonna be. I'm feeling like there's a high chance I'm gonna cancel this, and it's bothering me because of everything going on. It just, I don't know, something doesn't feel right. I think it's going to depend on whether something takes place today that needs to happen. But it's just, once again, this fucking piece of shit landlord is cutting into my livelihood significantly, because if I have to go on this 54-mile bicycle ride because of him, I'm not only losing a significant amount of time to work today on my projects, but if I'm not getting back until 10 o'clock tonight, it's going to significantly impact my ability to work tomorrow, and it's going to completely destroy my week. And this is like, I can't keep doing this. So I'm gonna try. I don't know. I'm already kind of like, this isn't gonna work. I tried to get a ride, but it didn't happen. And I'm really like logistically thinking, it's. I don't know. I can't really get into the details of it. It's just, I'm sure you can. I'm sure I've given you enough clues to figure out what it might be for. But it might make sense to just, maybe Sunday would be the right day. I don't know. Maybe I think I'm gonna try to reschedule it for Sunday, for 4 to 5 different reasons. I think I'm gonna text. Then I'm gonna do it for Sunday, and try to do it like midday. that'll even, I might even have a chance of getting a ride so I wouldn't have to ride a bicycle. Um, I think yeah, this, I think I've made up my mind on this. It's just my options right now. This fucking landlord has done so much damage to my life in the last 24, 20, 21 days. 21 days he's done significant fucking damage. And that factors into what happens next. Um, it's just the amount of stress that this has caused. I had some fucking douchebag. All these fucking people in the comments are just like, you got a good deal. You should stay there. How much are you paying for rent? And I'm like, I'm going to respond to some of these fucking idiots, but it's like, how much would you pay for an apartment where you don't even have running water? You can't take a fucking shower and you don't have hot water. You have one sink with one cold faucet and a toilet that flushes. What's that worth? What kind of rental unit? What kind of money is that worth? Would you rent that? Would you stay in a place like that? Fucking idiots. It's one thing. Now, here's the thing. I was listening to, Prepper Nurse One, the homesteader guy, and I was watching one of his videos, and he was talking in his video about how, well, this guy's, he is a homesteader, man. He bought a piece of land in western New York, Southern Tier area. I don't know exactly where, Danville, I think. Um, Somewhere around that area. And they were just like, all right, we're doing it. I don't know exactly what they did shelter wise when they started, but they didn't have running water or power. He said for the first year they didn't have running water, and he had kids, and it was rough. And he said that the kids were like very upset about things, and like, they didn't have running water for a year. Running water, let alone hot or cold or whatever. They didn't have power, electricity for a year. um, Over a year. In fact, they got the water first, and that's one thing. But the difference is, number one, that's his land, that's his cabin, that's his RV, whatever. Like, that's all his property and his homestead that he can build to however he wants. And he's making that choice to not have water, to not have power, to have to build that, dig a well, dig a well, get solar panels, do the things that you have to do to start having power. And that's fine. But the difference is, I'm paying for a rental unit. I'm paying for an apartment. By law, this motherfucker has to provide water. I'm paying for this. This is in the fucking lease. It has to be fixed. In fact, the lease even says that if something is wrong that causes a habitability issue, he has this many days to fix it. And by law, he has 7 days, according to Texas law. And then, according to Texas law, after 7 days, I can give him another notice for a total of 14 days. And if he doesn't fix the issue, the lease is null and void from my end. So, legally speaking, he can't evict me because I've paid all my rent on time. I was told by people who know there's not a judge in the state of Texas who would throw me out after having paid rent. And if he decided to take me to court for an eviction, he would not only lose that, but he might even owe me money because of everything else going on. But also on the flip side, because he hasn't provided hot water for almost 90 days, I haven't had hot water since the day I moved in. So the lease is null and void from my side. I don't have to stay. I can leave any day. I could leave right now, and he would still have to. In fact, he would have to send the security deposit back to me in full, because of what he's done. So I've more than done my homework. Um, it does feel. It is funny that all these fucking piece of shit trolls are showing up to every video now because I'm going through this. I didn't see any of you people when things were moving up and things were going in a positive direction. Didn't see a single one of them from when I was homeless in Jamestown. Not a single. All the trolls that used to show up every day and poke the bear and just try to bring a brother down were nowhere to be found after I found a place to live and things started to move up. You go through 21 days of hardship and all of a sudden they're all back. Which means they've been watching every single fucking day. They come and watch every single fucking video. These fucking losers have nothing better to do than watch videos every day of a guy trying to put his life back together and just wait and wait and wait and aha, now I can get him. I can leave a nasty comment. I've got friends of mine, they're like, holy shit, what's going on with these fucking assholes in the comment section? I'm like, that's what people do. They want to watch a train wreck. They love it. They love watching people fall on their face. And, like I keep saying over and over again, people don't go to watch car races. They go to watch car crashes. They don't want to see an auto race. They want to see everybody crash and die so that they can say, I was there, I saw it. They don't go to the Daytona 500 to watch a car race. They go to watch auto wrecks. So, that's what's happening. And I don't give a fuck. I didn't lose. I got a good night's sleep last night. It didn't bother me any. But it's funny to wake up. It's crazy how many times. I haven't even checked the filtered comments where all of the comments come in that, like, where YouTube is like, hey, you might want to look at this before you let it go live. Haven't even looked at those yet I don't know, I looked at them 3 days ago, I guess. I don't know. And I was like, wow. And then I let them go live. They're out there. I don't know which videos they're attached to. And I don't got any time to go look at that. So, but yeah, logistically, this guy I'm supposed to meet later, I don't want to say he gives me a bad vibe, but he doesn't give me a good vibe. He's a bit, but then again, it is what it is. And it's par for the course. And if I'm going to give him enough notice to say, look, I'm not going to make it today at 7 because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I'm thinking about this and I'm like, I could accomplish, it's going to take me a few to get up and motivated and get moving on my project work, but I can accomplish a lot today. I'm on the cusp of getting something good, something done that's going to open up doors for more things. I didn't almost finish last night. I ran out of energy last night while I was working on it, and I didn't go to bed. I watched the first 2.5 episodes of Andor that just came out, and thanks to thanks to a good friend, and so I watched some of that. It's kind of so far. So far, it's kind of boring, but it'll get. I think it'll get better. I don't know. Um, there's but yeah, I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep. I lost my ability to. I put in some hours yesterday, and then I just there's an energy drop, and it happens like in the snap of a finger. But when I open up my laptop, all the windows will be open to the state they were yesterday. I can pick up right where I left off, and I was closing in on something really cool, getting finished. I am almost positive I can finish it today. At least the first. I'm putting videos on a website, but there was a little bit of a learning curve. I had to figure out how to do something that wasn't like out of the box. Whenever you see people embedding YouTube videos on a web page, you see the video sitting on the page and it just looks however YouTube decides to make it look. It's got the title in the top left corner, it's got a logo in the bottom left corner, it's got a big giant play button in the middle of the video thumbnail, and then it's got some other branding and stuff all around the video player. And so every video on YouTube has a thumbnail image that you can either add or it just generates one. And so based on the thumbnail images of the videos, these videos, when I embedded them on a page, they looked terrible visually. And, I'm not the guy who's just going to go, okay, fine, let it go like that and just let it be ugly. So I had to come up with a way to create a thumbnail image / button that takes up the same amount of space as the YouTube video on the page. And when you click on that, it activates the video and starts the video playing. And so now I've got the ability to, and it took a little bit of work, and I used AI to help a little bit. I used AI a little bit yesterday because it wasn't like there were bugs left in it, but there were sizing issues, and there were some things that YouTube does by default that like YouTube forces you to give a specific size to the player, but I need the player to be elastic so that when you change the size of the window, the player automatically adapts to the size of the window. And so I had to come up with a workaround for that. And just some different things, and it wasn't like, none of it was super hard, but it took some testing and messing around. So it was a step above. It was above and beyond just taking a YouTube video and going, putting it on a page. That's easy to do. It's copy and paste. YouTube gives you the code. You could embed this video on a web page just by copying and pasting the embed code that shows up when you hit the share button. But I want this website to look nice. As it grows, it's going to have a lot of videos. Lots of videos on it. Embedded from YouTube mostly. And so I've got 3 videos, 2 on the home page, 1 on an about page, and then I'm after I get those 3 pages finished and live, then I'm putting together a page that has 10 videos. But by the time I get to the page with the 10 videos, it's going to be pretty straightforward. I'll have to design what the page looks like, and it'll just be based on other pages. And it's once you make one page, I've got 3 pages of this website. It's not a big website. We're just starting. I'm starting to get content for it now. So it'll be 4 pages, then it'll be 5 pages, then it'll be 6 pages worth of content, and then there's a 7th thing coming along. So we're just working on it one step at a time. That's what you do. And instead of just keeping it hidden behind a curtain and waiting until there's a lot of content and then going, ta-da, we just put it live with 3 basic pages, and now we're just slowly adding content to it as we organize it and figure out what to do with it. And it's all going smooth. There's nothing in the process there's nothing in the process that there it's kind of nice, because when I work on this project, there's nothing that doesn't get figured out. Little bug, I come across a bug. Oh, there's the fix. Oh, I come across another issue. Okay, that's fixed. And things just keep moving along, and there hasn't been anything that, like, I haven't been stuck on anything. The only thing I'm stuck on is life, the outside of that stuff, that, like, the shit with this landlord is making things ridiculous. I had somebody else in the troll section. So I don't know which video you're watching on what day and what I said where at this point, because everything is so out of whack and out of sync. There was a guy, I put him on blast because he got all mad at me because I swear in the videos, and he's mad at me because his kids are around when he's watching the videos. And I'm like, how is that my fault? I don't know, watch the videos when your kids aren't around then. I don't know, like, do you watch South Park with your kid? Do you watch porn with your kids sitting around watching it with you? Like, what? What, dude? What? And then he was like, if you don't stop swearing, I'm going to stop watching your channel, okay? Your threats are I am so intimidated by your threats of losing a viewer. there's a million, there's people that would stop watching the channel if I stopped swearing. That's the funny thing. Like, and I'm not saying that it was a joke, but it's true. It's true, and here's the proof. Okay? Comedians. Did you ever see Bob Saget do stand-up? You know who, and those of you who don't know who Bob Saget is because you're too young, you're not, in fact, if you're too young, you're not going to know anything about what I'm talking about. But Bob Saget, America's Dad, Full House, America's Funniest Home Videos. What else did Bob Saget do? He was always the clean-cut American dad. He was funny, but not too funny, just kind of like the watered-down corporate America dad that, never said anything offensive, blah, blah, blah. Then he does stand-up, and people are like, whoa, dude. Because Bob Saget, he gets up and he starts doing stand-up, and he's like the raunchiest. I can't even, like, he's talking about, like, honestly, I can't even, like, think about what he was saying. It was so raunchy and so over the top. Every other word out of his mouth was the F-bomb. Everything he said was just, like, I have a pirate mouth, and I was like, holy shit! Bob Saget, you filthy, filthy man. Oh, and all of America thought the same thing. All of America was like, oh my God, that's Bob Saget? Bob Saget, you have a filthy, filthy mouth. And nobody wanted to watch him anymore. His stand-up was so vulgar and so over the top that, like, people were just so turned off by it. And it wasn't even funny. It was like I wish I could remember some of the stuff he said, but it wasn't a memorable stand-up bit because he wasn't really funny. It was like he was just, it was like Bob Saget got sick and tired of being America's dad and the clean-cut corporate guy who was always wholesome, and he just decided to lash out and do the raunchiest, nastiest comedy bit he could possibly do. And it was like so over the top, it wasn't even funny. It was just, you're just watching this and you're like, what the fuck, Bob Saget? Whoa. I wish I could remember. I can't remember anything that he said. I thought maybe I could pull it out while I'm talking to you, but no, it was just, he was so raunchy. But then around the same time, or in the same, in the same genre, in the same general time span of our lives, we had this other comedian, Andrew Dice Clay, and he was the raunchiest, nastiest, like Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill came back with 250. Oh, like he would tell the nastiest, dirtiest jokes, and this dude would fill stadiums. He would show up in a stadium and sell out all over America, everywhere this guy went to do a stand-up show. He would fill a stadium full of people telling all these jokes. Little boy blue. Oh, and he had this whole fucking New York City tough guy persona, and he just told dirty jokes for an hour, and he would sell out. Like, he could go to the stadium at Penn State that holds 100,000 people and sell the place out and have that place packed. And then all of a sudden he started doing, like, he got rid of the whole tough guy routine and the dirty jokes and all this, and he started doing sitcoms, and he stopped swearing, and he tried being like he tried cleaning up his act, and his career was over. Overnight it was gone. He was doing like clean cut, like Full House, Bob Saget style sitcoms and shit like that, and people are like, huh? They started calling, instead of Andrew Dice Clay, they started calling him Andrew Nice Clay as a joke, because haha, he's Andrew Nice Clay now. And it's not even, and like nobody wanted to watch him anymore. And he lost his whole fucking career. All of his stand-up gigs dried up. Like, he completely fell off the face of the fucking earth because he stopped telling dirty jokes and stopped swearing. So it doesn't matter what the fuck I do. That's the point. Bob Saget went from America's clean-cut dad who was wholesome and never swore, the family man, clean-cut corporate America dad, to being this raunchy fucking like, I can't even describe what it was. It was the biggest train wreck I'd ever seen in my life at the time. And you're just like, nobody, and then he was over. He's probably never worked, well, he's dead now, he died, but he probably never worked again. After that stand-up bit, everybody was like, holy shit, Bob Saget, what happened to you? But on the flip side, there's another comedian who does just fine doing the same exact shit that Bob Saget was doing. His dirty, dirty mouth telling nothing but dirty, raunchy jokes, and he would fill stadiums full of people that come to see him tell all of his dirty, raunchy jokes. He would go to Madison Square Garden and there wouldn't be a seat left in the building. And he would pack these places in. And then he tries to do this nice guy. Hey, what's going on? I The phone used to give me a low space warning at least 5 minutes before it runs out of space. Now I'll be in the middle of a sentence, boom, it just shuts off. It says, you're out of space. I don't know why. I don't know if there's a setting somewhere that I turned off somehow. I don't know. A software update where they're like, we don't need to tell them that they're running out of space anymore. Get rid of that feature. Dumb down the software, make it worse, whatever. The phone just runs out of space and shuts off in the snap of a finger. So let's see. I was in the middle of talking about how I've had people show up to the channel and say that because you swear too much, we're leaving. We're not coming back. We're not watching you anymore because you say dirty words. One guy was angry because my children are around when I'm watching your videos. Okay, well, watch them when your children aren't around. Like, I tag the videos appropriately. They're 18 and over. they're not for kids. All the settings that I have to click when I upload a video are the boxes are checked. I was talking about how Bob Saget went from being America's dad. He basically he showed up in the movie half-baked, talking about how he used to suck dick for crack. And that kicked off like this, oh my God, that's Bob Saget! America's dad, Full House, America's funniest home videos, Mr. Clean Cut, non-offensive, corporate-friendly America's dad. And he did this stand-up routine that was so incredibly raunchy. And, like, I have a pirate mouth. So did all my friends when we watched it. And we're all just looking at each other going, oh my God, it's Bob Saget. What are you doing? What have you done? And none of us laughed. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even funny, and he ruined his career. But Andrew Dice Clay was the exact opposite. His comedy was so offensive and so outrageous that he was filling up stadiums full of people to come watch him. He was getting banned. Like, he was getting banned from different places. He was getting, like, I swear they might have even charged him with obscenity in some of these Republican states where they've, in the Bible Belt when he showed up to do a comedy bit or something. I don't know, but he was being attacked, but he had huge crowds, huge numbers of fans, millions of fans. And then he decided to clean up his act and start being friendly and being basically, he started to turn into Bob Saget. America's funniest videos, America's corporate-friendly dad, Full House dad, and started doing dumbass sitcoms, and then he disappeared because everybody's like, oh, what is this, Andrew Nice Clay? Well, I'm not watching him anymore. What the fuck happened to him? And they ditched him, and they left him. And I mean, both of these, now Bob Saget died a while back, but both of these comedians, they had enough money in the bank by the time their audience abandoned them and they were has-beens. They were has-beens living in a mansion, never having to work again. They just got to be careful with their money at that point because, if the millions aren't coming in, hookers and blow are expensive and it's going to run out. Eventually, if you're not putting that money back in the bank, you can only buy so many hookers and so much blow before that money's gone. So, but when you're that rich and you're living in a mansion and you've got money in all these you have a hard time. You would have a hard time spending all the money that you have because more money's just coming in from your investments and things like that. But, people go broke. MC Hammer was filthy rich and he lost it all. Bought a stupid-ass giant mansion that he couldn't afford, and he had like an entourage of people he was just throwing money at left and right, and before you know it, the dude was broke. And he wasn't selling any rap albums anymore. He hasn't sold a fucking rap album since the 80s, 90s, whenever it was. Was it the 8? I don't know. Nobody
He disappeared off the face of the earth. But I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that he still has enough money to live. I'm going to assume he can live a modest life for the rest of his life and never have to work again. He probably had something somewhere. When they say he went broke, too broke to afford giant mansions and Ferraris and Rolls Royces and giant Cadillacs and all that shit. But he probably has enough money to be all right. He's not going to be homeless. He doesn't have to worry about that level of being broke. When they say a celebrity goes broke, that means they only have a couple $1,000,000 in the bank. That's what it means when a celebrity goes broke. That it's not the same as when you or I go broke, we're homeless. We live in a cardboard box. We are, moving in with a friend because we got nowhere else to go, living out of a fucking car. That's what it means. But when a celebrity goes broke, that means, they've only got a couple $1,000,000 now. What is the poor celebrity gonna do now? So yeah, it's a different broke. It's not the same. So, but yeah, all I'm saying is you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I guarantee you, if I cleaned up my act and I started being America's dad and grovel and say I'm sorry every day for all the bad things I've done and I never utter another swear word again, I bet I would lose half my audience just for that. People would be like, oh, he's cleaned up his act and he's too nice now and he's all friendly and he won't swear. I'm not watching him anymore. Fuck that. And it's going to be just as many people that ditch my video channel as ditch it because I swear too much. So it doesn't fucking matter what you do. That's the point. The only point I'm trying to make here, and I say this all the time, and I back it up with proof. It does not matter what you do. Somebody will hate you for it. If you put yourself in the public eye for anything at all, somebody is going to hate you. It doesn't matter. You cannot make everybody happy. You cannot open a restaurant in your neighborhood and expect to get nothing but 5-star reviews on Google Maps. Somebody's going to show up and leave you a 1-star review. Somebody's going to put a 1-star review on Yelp. It does not matter how much you cater to them, how much you kiss their ass, how much you try and make it right. Even if it is your mistake, even if, like, let's say, you take out a plate of food and it's cold or something's wrong with it and you fess up, oh, we're so sorry, something went wrong and, people make mistakes. Restaurants aren't always going to hit a home run every time someone sits down to eat. It's the fact. It's a fact of life. But there are people who could get a 5-star meal and put a 1-star review up on you. And there's nothing you can do about that. That's the nature of being out there in the public. Somebody is going to dislike you for what you do. And then if you turn around and try and fix it, there's going to be a whole bunch of other people who hate you for that. So if you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't, do whatever the fuck you want. That's my motto. It's like having a girlfriend. Doesn't matter what you do. She's going to be mad. She's going to be mad if you do it. She's going to be mad if you don't. She's going to be mad if you do the dishes because you did them wrong. She's going to be mad if you don't do the dishes because you didn't do the dishes. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's going to be mad if you fix something because you did it wrong. She's going to be mad if you don't fix it because it's broke. So do whatever the fuck you want. If you're in that situation where no matter what you do, whoever it is in your life is going to be mad at you. If you do it or you don't do it, do what you want. If you want to fix it, fix it. If you don't want to fix it, don't fix it. If it doesn't make any difference to the person who's angry with you, then who cares? Do what you want. There's no incentive to do anything else but whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many examples of this. It just doesn't matter. Like a bicycle. I mean, even a bicycle shop. Could be the best bicycle shop in town, and service with a smile and go above and beyond the Call of Duty. Somebody comes in for a basic tune-up and you end up giving them a complete overhaul for the price of a tune-up, even though you should have charged them the full price for an overhaul. If a tune-up is $40 and an overhaul is $200, and you go above and beyond and do a complete overhaul and charge them $40-50, and then they get mad because their gears went out of adjustment a month later. That happens when you ride a bicycle. You constantly, and then so the customer brings back the bicycle. My gears went out of adjustment, and not only do you fix the gears by adjusting the cable tension, which is a very simple fix, you educate the customer and say, here's how you can do it yourself when you're on a ride. Here are 2 places where you can just turn a knob and fix the problem. And then the customer goes and leaves a 1-star review on Google Maps saying that you told the customer to fuck off and fix it yourself. That'll happen. Customer comes in, pays for a tune-up. You do an overhaul, grease the bearings. You make that customer's bike like it's brand spanking new, some 10-year-old bike that's been neglected and hardly ridden and completely seized up. You put that bike to where it's almost brand new. They ride it for a month. The cables get stretched. Things get out. My bike gets out of adjustment. My Red Rocket, the shifting's all messed up right now, and I have to adjust the little knobs as I'm riding to try and tweak it. And it's never going to be perfect because it's an old bike and there's a couple other reasons for the imperfection. I can work on it over time and I can improve it, but if I put it up on my work stand and really dial it in, I can get it to be perfect for about a week, and then it goes out of adjustment again. That's normal. Okay, so a customer comes in, they don't understand this. They go out on a few rides and then they're like, every time I click into the next gear, it doesn't quite want to go into gear and I don't know why, and you didn't do a good job. Okay, well, put it up on the work stand, fix it right there for them. But then say, hey, come here, I want to show you something. When you're out on a ride and and that's happening, and explain how everything works. Take a half hour with this customer and say, you can fix this yourself on a ride. Small little adjustments make a huge difference, and these things are mechanical things that go out of adjustment over time. If you ride your bike on a regular basis, this is going to be something you need to do on a regular basis. Your brake pads are going to wear out. You're going to need to adjust the tension on the cable to keep your brakes nice and firm. As your brake pads wear out, the brake levers are going to get spongier, and all that kind of stuff. You not only you not only went above and beyond on the tune-up, you brought the bicycle in, you fixed it again for the customer. You didn't have to do that. And then you spent half an hour with the customer educating them on how to do it themselves so that they can go out and enjoy their ride and be a more informed individual and actually be able to empower them to fix it themselves so they don't have to bring it to you and pay money to get it fixed. You're actually shooting yourself in the foot in some ways. But that's how I would operate if I was a bike shop. I would want some bike shops won't sell books on how to maintain your bicycle because they don't want to lose the business for the tune-ups. I've been there. I've worked for bike shops like that. I said, why don't we have books that people can buy that teach them how to fix their own bikes? Well, because we'd lose money. Of course, well, you make money on the books, but not everybody wants to do that. But all I'm saying is that customer, you went above and beyond on the tune-up. You fixed it again when they brought it in a month later. And then you educated the customer for half an hour on how to fix that problem themselves. And then they go to Google Maps and give you a 1-star review and basically tell the public that you told them to fuck off and go fix it yourself. They're just going to twist what happened into their own version of it, give you a 1-star review, and then your only thing that you can do is respond and tell the public, this is what we did for this customer. Sorry that, you took it the wrong way, but we wanted you to be empowered to enjoy your bicycle and only have to bring it in once a year for its annual tune-up or whatever, or when you have a problem that you can't fix yourself. People will do that. People do that shit all day. That's why, like, when you go, like, I go to Amazon and I buy it, and we all buy products from Amazon. Who doesn't go to the reviews? When you read, and it doesn't matter. There could be 20,000 5-star reviews for some product, and there's always going to be hundreds of people leaving a 1-star review. And so you dig into that. I'm like, okay, show me all the 1-star reviews because I want to see, is there something about this that I need to know? And it ends up being like, I ordered the wrong size shorts and they didn't fit me. 1-star review. Well, order the right size, you dumb piece of shit. Order the right fucking size and then maybe they'd fit. Send the ones back that didn't fit and get the ones that are the right size. It's not that fucking difficult. Why do you gotta leave a 1-star review because you ordered the wrong size? Maybe the sizing charts weren't, if it's because the sizing charts are off and it says for this 36-inch waist, I got to get the extra large, and then the extra large is all baggy and falling off and you actually needed a large, okay, you could say, okay, well, I'm a 36-inch waist and I ordered that and it was too big, and you could get a little more specific and say, don't trust the sizing charts, and I'm going to say, okay, give it a 3-star review because I had to send it back and get the right size. But otherwise, they're great shorts. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just going to leave a 1-star review because I ordered the wrong thing. Now, if the package came and it was damaged, I've seen that. You'll have thousands of people saying this was great, this was great, this was great, and then all of a sudden someone posts a photo of this thing was broken when I took it out of the box. Okay, that's legit. I'd be pissed too if somebody sent me a product and it wasn't in the original packaging and it was broken and I ordered it on Amazon. I'd send that shit right back and give it a 1. And I've left 1-star reviews for a product here and there. There's been a few things that I've had to return that were just garbage, but Amazon's got good policies when it comes to that, but it's still a hassle, and sometimes I will leave a 1-star review. I remember there was a bug trap that was a complete piece of garbage, and I left a 1-star review and honestly, there were tons of 1-star reviews on this thing. I just didn't know, and there was enough good 5-star reviews that I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. If it doesn't work, I'll send it back. And when I opened the box, I was like, oh my god, I'm sending it back before I even try to use it. It's garbage. But I thought if it would work for the situation that I was using it for, fine. The only point is, if you're going to put yourself out there and you're going to do something, you're going to get a 1-star review from somebody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. I have a almost 30-year career in my line of work. Is every single person I've ever done work for going to rave and praise me? No, it's not. Am I going to get criticism that I deserve? Sure. Am I going to get criticism that I don't deserve? Absolutely. Am I going to get someone who said that I didn't do the job right because they didn't give me they didn't give me what I needed to do the job? Yeah. Are there companies that are going to say I didn't do a good job even though they were the ones that gave me an impossible deadline from day one? I've been hired at companies where I worked at the second biggest ad agency in Pittsburgh, and it was a little ways into the job. In fact, it was a great place to work for the first 3-4 months, and then all of a sudden they promised a client that we would do something for them in 2 weeks that would take a group of 20 people 6 months to a year to do. And I'm not kidding about the level of incompetence there. You don't go and make a promise to close a sale by promising something in 2 weeks that a team of 20 people couldn't do in 6 months to a year, and then say that a team of 4 or 5 people is going to do it in 2 weeks. That the level of negligence there is so staggering that it makes me laugh to think about, because this was like a financial app, financial transactions that need security, a single mistake in a printed document. This was like stock transactions. I'm not going to get into the details or who it was or what, but these were financial transactions in the stock market. This was like, it was an investment brokerage. And they're like, oh, we can do that in 2 weeks. A single mistake on one PDF document that this thing generates would result in a $2 million fine to the brokerage. Okay? A single mistake on a single contract that this automated system spits out to a customer. If there is any mistakes, I'm sure the mistakes would have to be at a certain level, but a mistake on this document would cost the company something. No, it was something like $600,000 per instance. This thing's spitting out thousands of these a day. What if there's a mistake? Because you can build something like that and fully test it in 2 weeks. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's just say 1,000 documents at $600,000 per mistake. How many zeros is that? That's holy shit. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's $600 million in fines if 1,000 documents have a mistake that costs $600,000 per instance. That's $600 million in fines from the SEC to that company for those mistakes. But we're just gonna go and have a hackathon, and 5 people are going to build out this system in 2 weeks, and it's going to work, and we can go live with it, and we can start doing all these financial transactions and just let it run. It's going to work perfect. 2 weeks. And so we all laughed. We fucking laughed. Hysterically laughed. Like, who's going to take the fall for this shit show? Not me. I would say on the team, I was on a team of about 20 people in a company of 200, and there were like 5 of us assigned to that project. On that team, 6 people quit out of the 20 in a span of like a month. In the company of 200 people, over 50 people quit in a span of 6 weeks. 50, and I left. I was like, holy shit, get me off of this. I put my nose down and I got myself another job, and I got out of there as fast as I could because that ship was a sinking. And if, like, just the negligence of saying we can build something like that in 2 weeks, and the fact that the company that hired them to do it was like, okay, sounds good. Like, what the fuck? The level of incompetence there is so staggering, it blows my mind. But that company would never give me a good review. They would never say I was a good employee because I pushed back and I said, I'm not doing this. I'm like, I will work on this project, but I'm not accepting any responsibility for what happens from here. I will do whatever I can do. I'm not working 120 hours a week like you think I'm going to. You're paying me a salary. You're not paying me by the hour. You're charging them by the hour. So you're billing out my time at an hourly rate, and any hours over 40, you're charging double to the client. Charging $150 an hour for my time, and then $300 an hour if it goes past 40 in a week. And I'm getting a salary of about $65,000, $70,000 a year, and you expect me to work 120 hours a week, and I'm not even getting paid for more than 40? Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. And that's what like I said, when 50 people in a company of 200 people quit in a span of 6 weeks, that is the company's fault. That's not the workers' fault. That's not bad workers. That's bad company. That's bad leadership. There's nothing you can do in that situation but leave, take the lumps, and expect that they're not going to give you a good reference because they're going to look at it. They're just going to blame you. They're going to blame all the people that walked out the door for all of their incompetence and their dumbass promises that they couldn't fulfill. So you think I'm going to, I've seen it all. Like, I'm telling you, the day that I was fired for going to the hospital for the birth of my son, that was the day my attitude completely changed. And that's where the attitude that you see in these videos, where I just don't give a fuck, came on my son's birthday back in 2009, when I went to the... up until that point, I was like a yes man, to an extent. I even had to go to a therapist because I was so much of a yes man when I ran my own business that I was wearing myself ragged by making promises and then having to stress myself out to meet deadlines and make promises and keep the promises and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's just part of the... It's par for the course for creative work, and when you're working on deadlines and budgets and the kind of work I do, that is common. Very, very common. And then I came to the conclusion one day, because of all... I was talking to a therapist, and this is where most of my stress at the time was coming from. Being a yes man. And the therapist and I were talking one day, and I was like, you know... because I was starting to have the light bulb go off in my head. And I was like, you know, when you go get a cheesesteak from Pepe's, Pepe's cheesesteaks, if you're gonna eat good food in Pittsburgh, don't stay away from Permante's. That shit is trash. That is not that's tourist trap garbage food. It's fucking trash. Permante's sucks. Anybody who goes and eats at Permante's is because it's a gimmick. It's not good food. If you want a good cheesesteak, go to Pepe's. Everybody knows this. Anybody who lives in Pittsburgh knows what I'm talking about. It's real. But you go to Pepe's and you walk in and the line is short, and you order your sub, and they put the ticket up on the slider, and you look and there's like 25 tickets in front of you, and there's this whole crowd of people waiting there, and it's like, oh shit, what did I just walk into? You're going to wait half an hour for your sub, and it's lunch. You've got an hour for lunch. You're a business person. You're out for lunch. You wanted a sub. You just burned half an hour of your lunch just waiting for your cheesesteak to be made, and you're getting all, like, people get impatient, and they're just like, come on. Oh, come on. And they're getting all, like, worked up over but you get that sub, you get that cheesesteak, you sit down, you eat that thing, you're coming back next week. It don't fucking matter how long it took. You could wait an hour for that fucking cheesesteak, and you're coming back next week and getting another one because it was so good. You forget about the fact that you had to wait. You were hoping they could make... It only takes like 5 minutes for them to make it. But the line, and the line is deceiving, because you walk in and they'll take your order right there. And you're like, oh, cool. And then, oh, shit, there's like 45 minutes worth of people in front of me. Too late, they got your money. You can hem and haw, and believe me, if you complain, they don't give a fuck. And they'll tell you straight to your face that they don't give a fuck. Because they know. They know that they can be as rude as they want to you. They can be as rude as they want to you, and you're coming back next week to get your cheesesteak. They are rude to you. Sometimes. It helps if you know the people that work there. That helps a little bit, but if you get an attitude to them, they're going to be completely rude to you, and they do not give a fuck at all. They know there's going to be a line out the door no matter how bad they treat you, because the cheesesteak's so good. I'm not saying that they're out to be rude to you or out to treat you bad. They're really not. But they're busy, and they're backed up, and there's a huge line, and whatever. You want your cheesesteak? Get in line, bitch. There's 50 people ahead of you. And you're going to get all worked up about it and be like, I just burned my whole lunch hour, and blah, and I'm going to be late getting back to the meeting, and all this and that. And you take a bite, and you're like, holy shit, that was good. Oh my God, that was so good. I'm coming back next week, and you're going to leave like with a smile on your face. And I was telling my therapist about this. This was like back in the mid 2000s, 2008, 9, somewhere around that range. And I'm like, I just have to believe, it's like Pepe's. If people sometimes jobs take longer than we thought. And by we, both me and the client. Sometimes the client changes their mind. Sometimes they want something that wasn't in the original scope. Things, sometimes an unexpected thing happens, whatever. One thing I found was that for 6 years I did my freelance business, and what I found out, every single time I finished a project for a client, they were happy with it, and they were like thanking me and bending over backwards and high-fiving and just thrilled at the quality of work, and like anything that led up to, I had the biggest bank in Pittsburgh. We were staying up all night to meet a deadline, a major deadline, and I was getting barked at left and right. Like, you would have thought they were my worst enemy. They're never going to hire you again. They never want to work with you again. Once they get your invoice and pay it, they're going to ghost you. You're never going to hear from them again. You know, because they were angry and screaming at me and just throwing fits, and I'm getting nasty emails, and then another nasty email from someone higher than that, and then another nasty email from someone higher than that, and just all day long, 3-4 days leading up to this deadline. But there's, you know, it's a two-way street. I wasn't getting the content that I needed to finish the project either. So there were two things at play. I was trying to do a quality job, and I was going to push it right up to the deadline. They're angry because they don't have time to, you know, quality control it. And we're all flying by the seat of our pants, and everybody's frustrated. Everybody there, me, everybody involved with the project's going out of their mind. We're all up all night long without sleep the night before the deadline. It has to go live at 5 in the morning. Thing goes live at 5 in the morning. There's a hiccup. The site goes down. I do a scramble. I get the thing back up right within, it's only down for like a couple of minutes. Send out the mass email, refresh. It's back. Great, whatever. They do the interviews on the national news, CNBC, and all these other business news shows do an expose, or like a, it was an annual thing that they do. They get all this press coverage for. And so it was all over the national news that morning, all over the business news, you know. And so it's a very stressful morning, and I've got to watch this thing like a hawk. And if anything goes wrong, or if anything needs fixed or updated, it's got to be like, boom, I got to be on it. And so, like, we're all stressing. And then the day after the launch, when everything calms down, I'm getting flooded. My email box is getting flooded with how awesome I am, and thanks for being so responsive, and thanks for getting it done, and it is so beautiful. Everybody loves this site. You did such a good job, and just one accolade after the next after the next. Oh, we talked to the CEO. He thinks it's great. He loves it. He loves all the work that you do. He knows your name. He knows who you are. I know you don't talk to him very often, but, you know, the biggest bank in Pittsburgh, the CEO is like, I love this guy's work. Every time he does something for us, it's great, blah, blah, blah. That's all I got after it went live. But it was like waiting at Pepe's for a cheesesteak. They're just like, argh! They're like angry with me, sending me all kinds of threatening emails, and just angry people. And then all of a sudden, everything goes smooth, everything launches, and then at the end of the day, they're like, oh my God, Adam, you're so awesome. Thank you for doing that. We wouldn't have been able to do this without you, and just all that stuff. And I'm telling the therapist about this, and the therapist is like, you got to run with that. You got to understand that the journey sometimes has some bumps in the road. But if you stick with it and you get to the finish line, people are going to love what you do. People are going to love your work. It's like Frank Lloyd Wright is a perfect example, and I'm not comparing myself to the greatest architect in history, but when Frank Lloyd Wright would build a project for somebody, whether it was Falling Water outside of Pittsburgh, or whether it was one of his other famous buildings, the Johnson Wax building, the Guggenheim Museum in New York, it didn't matter. If you hired that guy, number one, whatever your budget was, multiply it by 4 or 5, because that's what it's going to cost by the time he's done. He's going to take your budget and double, triple, quadruple, whatever 5 is. I don't even know what the next term is in that sequence, but it's going to be at least quadruple what you thought it was going to cost. The Johnson Wax building, it leaks. all the window, all the glass at the top of the roof. He couldn't figure out how to join it correctly. Every time it rains, water comes pouring into the building. They love it. They still love the building. It's still on the architectural wonders of the world. Falling water. Dude, it was like 3 times the original budget, and they've had to rebuild it like 3 times because all the cantilever decks on the house lean and fall. He thought it would work. Turns out it wasn't quite right. Like, they've had to rebuild this house like 3 times without really destroying it, like the way that they have to rebuild and reinforce this house, without ruining the original integrity. But they've had to do this over and over again ever since it became a museum open to the public. But this was just some house for a rich douchebag family to go on their vacations, and it's one of the most famous pieces of architecture in the world. But it took like 10 times longer than he said it would take, and it cost 5 times more than he said it would cost. And they were pissed. The family was pissed the whole time. They were just like, and then the thing's done, and they're like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I can't believe it. This is the best vacation home in the history of vacation homes. And the family just loved it at that point. And it was like their most treasured thing in the world was going to that house to spend their summers in their house on top of the waterfall. And they were just like, all they ever did was brag about it and how great it is and how great Frank Lloyd Wright is. He's a genius. We love him, etc., etc. But when they were building that house, they hated the motherfucker. They hated him. It was like, oh my God, how much more is this asshole going to cost me? How much longer is this shit going to take? It should have been done 2 years ago. What the fuck's going on? At the end of the day, he came with a disclaimer. Like, he came with a disclaimer that everybody else gave him. Like, if you hire that guy to do the job, it's going to cost 10 times more. It's going to take forever. You're going to hate working with him. He's an arrogant, stubborn bastard. He's not going to listen to anything you say. He's just going to do whatever the hell he wants. And if you give him a suggestion that he doesn't like, he's just going to not listen to you. He's just going to do it his way. At the end of the day, it's his project, not yours. And he would piss people off left and right. And then at the end of the day, everybody loved him. Everybody loved him. And so these are lessons for you and me, that if you deliver something that people want, at the end of the day, they're going to look past whatever it took to get there. If they're happy with it, they're going to love you, even if there were some road bumps along the way. And I understand this now. It took me my 6 years of freelancing to figure that out. And then followed after my 6 years of freelancing, the first job that I got in the corporate world again was the company that fired me for going to the hospital on the day my son was born for going to the hospital. I got fired for that. Dirtbags. The CEO was the sister of the current CEO of Amazon. And I worked right next to her. I was 10 feet away from her. That bitch wouldn't even look me in the eye or say good morning or say hi. I had to, I was the 5th person that was hired at the company. I was employee number 5. There were 5 or 6 of us there. She wouldn't say good morning. I would say good morning to this dumb cunt every fucking day. I would say good morning. Good morning. She would just talk to the hand and walk by. She wouldn't even make eye contact with me. And the first time I tricked that bitch into saying good morning to me was because she was taking somebody that she wanted to hire, somebody important, on a tour of the company. And I said good morning to her, knowing with a smile on my face that she wasn't gonna do the whole talk to the hand routine and walk away while she was trying to impress this guy, because that would leave a bad taste in his mouth. And she looked at me, and she, with this scowl on her face with the fake smile, and she goes, good morning, Adam. Like, that fake, I'm pissed at you, but I'm gonna smile. And then the dude that she was leading around the company pulled up a chair and sat down with me and had a whole conversation with me while she stood there And I'm like, this is so fucking great. That was so, and other people were watching this and they knew what I was doing because I'd talked about this with other people in the company. What's this fucking woman's problem? Somebody was giving me a ride home one day because I don't remember how I got there. Oh, I had to take my vehicle to the shop. That's right, my vehicle wouldn't start. I went out to go get lunch and my vehicle wouldn't start, and so I had to call a tow truck and have my vehicle towed. Ended up just being a bad battery. But anyway, I had to get my vehicle towed out of a parking garage, so I was gone for, an hour and a half for lunch. And then somebody gave me a ride home, and on the way home, I'm like, what is her fucking problem? And they laughed, and they explained it all to me. I mean, didn't make it right. She's a cunt. That you can summarize the whole conversation. She's a spoiled, rotten cunt who, that's how she is. And so I'm on my way home, and that's what, that's the conversation. But anyway, all these people in the company knew what she was doing. And when I tricked her into having to say good morning to me, they're all sitting there with a smirk on their face because they knew exactly what I was doing. I just did it to be a dick. I made her say good morning to me for the first time, and she didn't want to. That's how much of a cunt she was. You got a company of 5 people, someone says good morning, and you're just going to ignore them and not make eye contact with them and do this talk to the hand bullshit, I'm too good for the room? Fuck you. Seriously, fuck you. That told me right there she's a complete piece of shit. And all these people were telling me when I got hired, oh, she's such an important person. You're so lucky to be working with her and all this and that. And I'm like, 2 weeks into the job, I'm like, no, that is not what's going. I am not lucky, and this is not a good person to be, working for right now. If somebody in a company of 5 people can't say good morning when you say good morning to them, and they just do this talk to the hand bullshit and don't make eye contact with you and just walk away, that's a big red flag. That is a big red flag. And like I said, the company, they fired me for going to the hospital for the birth of my son. So that just tells you right there. And some of the other things that they did were so horrible to people that what they did to me seems petty. Like the things they did to other people were even worse. And so, but that moment in time when I was fired, after I had gone through the 6 years of doing freelance work and came to the conclusion that, as long as you do a good job, the stumbles that get in the way sometimes will be overlooked once you turn over a masterpiece to the client. That was something that I had to learn. And at the same time, when I was fired for going to the hospital for the birth of my son, that was the moment in time where I was like, you know what? You can all go eat a dick. I will never be disrespected like that or treated like that ever again. And it hasn't. I have not ever been treated like that since. I've never put up with a company that would do something like that. Company told I worked remotely. They told me to go get the COVID shot. I waited until the all hands meeting on Zoom, and I told 100 and something people to go fuck themselves. Didn't give a fuck at that point. No, I'm not taking your experimental vaccine, and I want nothing to do with your Jim Jones, Dr. Fauci vaccine Kool-Aid cult. Go to hell. I'm not fucking doing it. Good luck with your myocarditis and your heart problems after you get your 10th booster. Good luck. I'm not joining your stupid club. And I've never caved in to anything like that since. I'm stubborn. I don't give a fuck. I know that if I make the right stand, that eventually God will. If I make the right stand that God wants me to make, there's nothing these people can do to hurt me. And it's been true. It's been true. I've made some dumbass mistakes that hurt me. That was my fault. But if I was making a stand and making a stance that God wanted me to make, I win every single time. And it's not me. It's not me. It's God will take care of you if you're doing the right thing. So, I'm sure God would probably like to see me curb my potty mouth, my pirate vocabulary, and tone it down a bit. And it probably will on its own. I'm already starting to come out of this funk over this landlord nonsense, which is, holy shit, even today, it's even gotten crazier. It's got even crazier today, and I can't talk about it. I'm telling you, I will tell you the whole story from beginning to end in a video dedicated just to this situation, detail after detail after detail, and every step of the way, once I'm at a point where I can say it. And it's gonna blow your fucking mind. But right now, I'm on like DEFCON 1. I'm ready to fight. I'm angry. I'm trying to get things done. I'm trying to do the right thing, work, rise. I was supposed to go on a 57-mile bicycle ride today for a good reason, and I pushed it off to Tuesday. Because if I do that today, I've got client work that needs to be done that's not going to get done at all, because I'm going to have to spend my whole day getting ready to go on this bike ride. Then I'm going to go ride 57 miles, and then I'm not going to get home until about 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. And then I'm going to be burned out and tired all day tomorrow because of it. And then Saturday, I got to go ride to the bakery. And it's going to completely destroy what I'm trying to get done this week. So I made a decision. I'm like, I contacted the person I'm supposed to meet up with. I said, can't do it today. I told him, I said, work's getting in the way, which is the truth. I want to get my work done. We came to the agreement to do it on Tuesday. And I'm like, Tuesday probably works better. We picked an earlier time in the afternoon, evening, but I'll be able to go do this, and I'll be able to ride my bike home if I have to ride my bicycle. I may be able to get a ride, but I'm not counting on that. If I'm able to pull that off, if I have to ride my bicycle, I'm going to be able to come home before it gets dark, and I don't have to ride on the dangerous roads involved in the dark. It'll be dusky, it'll be close, but it'll be early enough that I don't have to ride in the dark and put all the lights on the bike and hope for the best and hope I don't die. Let's see, what was the other aspect? Oh, and I'm going to be able to stop at the bike shop that I need to stop at to take care of something. I got a hole going through my cycling shoes that developed out of nowhere. There's a 1-year warranty from the shoe company, so I should be able to get a new pair of cycling shoes out of this. I feel like I need to get another pair of shoes because 1 is none and 2 is 1. And since I rely so heavily on my bicycle, I need to have an extra pair of shoes in case something like this goes wrong. Like, what if the buckle ratchet system breaks on my shoe? Like, the shoe completely breaks and I can't even ride the bike anymore because the shoe's broken. This is something I've been thinking about for a while. I need a backup pair of shoes. I usually, back in the day, I would have 2 or 3 pair of cycling shoes of I guess I'll just throw on my old pair, to go on a ride or whatever. But I can't just contact the company because the bicycle shop that I bought them from, when they give you a receipt, it's just a little cash register receipt with no itemization of what you bought. There's nothing. It's not like a Target receipt that lists everything you bought. It's just a cash register receipt and a credit card slip, and that's it. Nothing on the receipt will tell the shoe company that I bought those shoes there. So typically bike shops like that, they'll probably take the shoes back and give me a new pair, and then they will handle the warranty thing to the company. But I'm going to walk in and say, look, I've got a hole in this shoe. I don't know where it came from, but it keeps getting worse. I know these shoes have a 1-year warranty. If you can give me a receipt that says I bought them here, I know when I bought them here. And they'll recognize, the guy that runs the bike shop, every time I've walked in there, which is rare, he recognizes me. He's like, oh, I remember you. But they're really like service oriented there, so they'll probably offer me a new pair of shoes if they have them in stock and swap the cleats for me, or give me a Allen wrench so I can switch the cleats over myself, while I sit there, possibly. But I might not be willing to do that because I'm in the middle of a 57-mile bike ride. But I might say, hey, I'll come back on whatever day is convenient for me to do that. If you guys can just put these aside, or, work out some sort of thing that'll be workable. But all I'm going to go in there and ask for is a receipt so I can contact the company myself, which they will usually, when, the last time I needed to get a shoe warranty claim, they gave me the refund before I sent the shoes. In fact, I never sent the shoes back. All I had to do was take a picture of them, contact the company, and they said, oh, we'll give you a refund. And they gave me the refund in the form of a gift card that I could spend on their website and give them a new pair of shoes. But I had already bought a replacement pair of shoes on Amazon because I didn't know how long this was going to take. And so I ended up spending the gift card on some shoes and stuff for my son. And but it worked out. It was kind of funny because I think I bought a pair of sandals for myself, like water shoes, and I bought a pair of boots for my son, and the total was the exact amount of the gift card down to the penny. And I'm like, well, that's convenient. That works. Okay, bye. And then they came in the mail, a week later or whatever it takes. But I already had my new shoes. I couldn't go without new, I needed shoes. So I'm thinking I might do the same thing with the bicycle shoes, or if the company wants to send me a brand new pair of shoes without me having to send the old ones back, then I'll just keep the new ones in a box, put cleats on them and get them ready to go, and then I'll just leave them. And I'll wear these old ones until they completely fall apart and they're completely done. Or I'll just, swap back and forth between the two pair, but I'll wear the old ones when I think if I'm going to go on a gnarly ride that might actually trash my shoes, I'll wear the old ones with, maybe I'll put some duct tape on them, or, maybe I'll find a way to patch the hole with some super glue, or who knows what. There might be some ghetto fix that I can do to the shoe and just wear them things until they completely wear out, and it might accomplish the goal of having two pair of shoes without me having to spend any money. So I'm just trying to figure out what the best option is. But anyway, next Tuesday, I've given myself enough time to go to the bike shop before I go do this other thing. The bike shop is almost exactly halfway to the place I gotta go, so that's a nice break. It's gonna make that ride out there seem like it isn't taking that long because I've got more things I can get done. And then on the way home, the ride home's gonna kind of suck, but maybe on the ride home I can stop and grab Chipotle or something. Like I could grab a nice meal or something to break up the ride home in half and do basically make it 1, 2, 3, 4 rides where I go to the bike shop, stop at the bike shop, get something done, go to the place I gotta go to, do that, turn around, come back, grab a bite to eat, and then get on the road and go home. That could be, but my ride home is I'm gonna be racing the sunset, so I might not want to stop and eat. But, it all depends. I mean, everything's kind of up in the air with that, but there's so many different ways that things could go on that Tuesday. But Tuesday is the best day for me to do it because I got to go to the bakery on Monday. I'm going to be completely worn out on Tuesday, but I'll still be able to do some things before I get ready to go on that bike ride, and I'll be able to have my weekly meeting with one client, and I'll be able to do some stuff, and then I can go do the thing. It's just like the spirit was telling me hard when I woke up this morning, don't do it today, do it next week. Do it, work out a different day. It was put on me so hard to do that I decided to listen. And so I'm coming up on an hour. And so I think I made some good points in this video, and I talked about some things that apply to you, or might apply to you and the things that you're going through. And so I'm going to wrap this up and get out of here. I got to go check the mail, and then I got to go back to work. I'm going to be working. I worked until 10, 11 o'clock last night, and probably be doing the same thing today. So with that, I'll talk to you all later. Peace out.